Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. I have got a fun video for you guys today. We're going to be trying out a couple of new things that I recently picked up from Target. I'm talking about a face palette by the brand Pixi, which by the way, this is my first time trying out something from Pixi Beauty. I've been interested in this brand for a long time, but for reasons that I'll get into when we get into the video, I just have not done it yet. But we're going to try that out today. I also have an eyeshadow palette here from LA Girl. I have never tried out eyeshadows from LA Girl, which again, I don't know why that is. I've had my eye on them for a while. It's just taken me a really long time to getting around to try out these two things. So we are doing it together today. This is the makeup look that I came up with. I will give you guys just a little spoiler here. There are some things about both of these different palettes that I really loved, and some things that I didn't love so much. So we'll get into it in the video. I hope that you guys are excited about it. I always love trying out new makeup from the drugstore, even if it is from Pixi and is not really drugstore priced. But we'll get into it all in the video. It should be a lot of fun. Before we jump in, I want to welcome any new visitors to my channel. Very happy to have you here. I hope that you'll consider subscribing before you leave. Make sure you have that notification bell turned on and give this video a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And with all of that out of the way, let's get to it. Alright, we are going to kick things off with the Complexion. So I'm going to start off with the Milani Soft Focus Glow. I pulled this into my recent Shop My Stash. I do already have sunscreen on. I always like to put my sunscreen on in the morning right after I do my skincare to let it soak in, because I do use a zinc-based sunscreen, which gives a nice white cast, so you really need to give it some time to soak into your skin. Now for foundation. Today I'm going to go in with my Flower Beauty Light Illusion foundation. I have two different shades of this, the shade Tawny M4 and Nude L3. Nude L3 is a perfect match for me in the middle of winter when I'm at my fairest, but I'm going to add just a little bit of the darker shade just to get the shade match just right. It's actually been a while since I've used this foundation, which is kind of strange considering I've long touted this to be one of my very favorite foundations. I'm pretty certain that I still love this foundation. I have just so been into, okay, that's too dark, hold on. A little bit more of the lighter shade. Actually, I'm going to add just a little bit of this one right here. This is the shade Shell. I just put a little too much of that darker shade in. Yeah, this is 3 shades concocted together to try and get this to match me. That looks better. Okay. These shades are all pretty yellow based, which I don't mind because I do have quite a bit of olive in my skin, even though I'm a little bit more fair. I always like to take a clean portion of my sponge and really kind of press it around the edge of my hairline to make sure I don't have any foundation buildup right there around my hairline. I don't need coverage right next to my hair, so this is just to kind of blend the edge of my foundation out. Alright, that is looking pretty nice. Let's add some concealer. So I have 2 concealers today. The Incognito concealer from Wet n Wild, and then I have this one from e.l.f. This is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. It has been a while since I've used this one. I have to be careful with the e.l.f. concealers because if I use them consecutive days in a row, they can make me break out. If I use them on occasion, I don't seem to have issues. So we're going to use this one after I do my complexion today because it's quite dark for me, and I like using this on top of the areas in my cheeks that need coverage after I've already put on my bronzer and blush. So I'm just going to add this one. This is the Wet n Wild one. I'm going to add this pretty much anywhere I need a little extra coverage. There's not a lot I need to cover right now other than just some hyperpigmentation marks, which are usually the same areas. I have a little patch right here, a little bit on my upper lip. Do any of you guys get hyperpigmentation on your upper lip? If so, I feel your pain. By the end of the summer, it looks like I have this like dark shadow of a mustache, but it's just some pigmentation marks that kind of follow my upper lip right there, make me look like I have a mustache, which is great. Let's now add just a little bit of powder. So I'm going to take this one right here. This is from Pure Cosmetics. This is their 4-in-1 pressed mineral makeup powder. I'm just going to use a little bit of this on this brush right here. This is the Royal & Lang powder brush. I'm just going to take a little bit of that across my forehead, kind of down the center, just to set that makeup down a little bit on my cheeks. This is a pretty firmly pressed powder, so there's very little powder on my brush. Next I want to do my brows. So today I pulled out my Marc Jacobs Brow Wow Defining Longwear Eye Pencil. I got this at TJ Maxx, I think like a year ago. I really like this pencil. I don't know that you can still buy it, possibly on the Marc Jacobs website. It's a really good one. I'm not one that often recommends spending $20 or $30 on a brow pencil because I think you can get great ones for a fraction of that price, but I do really like this one. This one is in the shade Medium Brown, which is a hair deep for me, but I actually kind of like it, and I do like how stiff this brow pencil is. Right now, to set those in place, I'm going to take my ColourPop Clear Feather Effect Styling Wax. I've been really enjoying this. In fact, I just got done filming my favorites video. Well, I just filmed it yesterday, and I kind of feel like I should have put this in my favorites video because I have been enjoying it. I've been using it a lot. In fact, this has kind of become a replacement to my beloved e.l.f. brow wax, which I do still like. This one's a little different. It's a different product than this. As I apply this, I'll just kind of tell you guys. So I did just add a little bit of water to my brush. This does need to be a little bit wet, so I usually just use water. I've used setting spray. I don't find that that works any better, so water's free, so I use water. But I noticed the other day I was washing this brush out. It had gotten really gummed up with this stuff, and I noticed that it was sudsing a little bit, so it makes me wonder, is this actually a wax or is it more like a soap? It's possible to have a mix of a wax and a soap. That's kind of what I feel like this product is. It does do a good job. I mean, it's very wax-like in the way that it really grabs onto your brows and places them where they need to go, but then it kind of sets down. It's really interesting. I don't know. If you like that kind of feathery brow look, this is a really good product to help you get that. Alright, now let's move into the rest of the face. As I mentioned in my intro, I did pick up this product recently from Target. It is from Pixi. This is the Nuance Quartet Blush Quad. We're going to give this thing a try today. This is my first product from Pixi. Pixi is one of those brands I know a lot of people love. Pixi skincare, Pixi makeup. They're one I often look at when I go to Target, and I can never bring myself to actually buy their products. I'll put them in my cart and then I kind of talk myself out of buying them because their products are just so expensive. This one was $16. This is in the shade Honey Nectar. I actually don't think $16 is a horrible price considering some of their other products for just like one individual thing will sometimes be $20. So I feel like $16, considering you're getting blushes, a bronzer, and a highlight, is not too bad. So let's go in first with the bronzer right here. It looks like a really nice shade. These blushes look really nice. I hope this isn't too gold or dark for me, but we'll give it a go. Let's go in with the bronzer first. So I'm going to take this brush from Rephr. This is the Rephr number 24 brush. It's kind of like a smaller version of their large bronzer brush, the number 22. So I'm going to take a little bit of that bronzer shade. It does look a little bit, it's like a nice shade. It looks a little deep. I hope it's not too pigmented, but we shall see. Oh, that's pretty. Almost has like the subtlest, I wouldn't call it shimmery, not this, but it almost has a satin finish to it. It actually reminds me, the look and kind of feel of it reminds me a little bit of the Wet n Wild, their color icon bronzers. The one in the shade, is it Sunset Striptease? I think that's the one that I have. They kind of have this really interesting finish to them. They almost feel very velvety, very satin-like. I love the color of this though. It is perfect. It's warm, but not too warm. Very neutral, just a natural kind of bronze and sort of shadow. I feel like you could use this as a bronzer or a contour. Okay, I'm actually going to take a larger bronzer brush. I feel like that one's just maybe a little bit too small and dense. So I'm going to take the larger Rephr brush, the number 22, and add a little bit less onto this brush. I'm kind of working that into the bristles, and I just want to add a little bit more in kind of a wider area so it looks a little more like a true bronzer than a contour. And with what's left, I'm just going to take that kind of down below my jawline and slightly down on my neck. Alright, next up, let's try out these blush products. So I think what I want to do is go in with this one right here, which looks like it has that same finish, kind of more of a satin sort of finish. And then this one is shimmery. It looks like more of kind of a highlight slash blush topper. Let's start with the blush itself. So I want to go in with my Rephr number 5 brush. We're going to add just a little bit of that kind of on the top of my cheeks right there. I love a good bright pink in the summertime, especially in combination with a good bronzer. I feel like it's a pretty, very summery kind of look. And then with that same brush, I'm going to take a little bit of this shade right here. That reminds me, I wanted to swatch these for you guys. Let me go ahead and do that. Pause. We're going to swatch these for a minute. So I know swatches of face palettes are a little bit more subtle. It may not show up super well, but go ahead and do it. There's the bronzer shade. So yeah, you can definitely see the subtle sheen that it has. It's really, really beautiful. Very happy with the bronzer. I think it looks great on the cheeks. And here is the blush, the one that is more satiny as well. Ooh, that's really nice and bright. Very pretty. So I am wearing these two already. And then here is the shimmery blush. That's the one right here in the corner. Has a gold sheen to it. I feel like you could use this as a highlight, especially if you have more medium skin tone or deep skin tone. That might be really pretty. There it is right there. Hopefully you guys can see it. I know my lighting's a little weird. The sun is like bouncing off of my desk right here, and it makes me very strongly lit from below, which makes my lighting really tricky. And unfortunately I can't turn off the sun, so we're kind of stuck with it. And last but not least, I'm going to take the gold highlighter right here. I am a little worried about this highlighter. It feels a little like firmly pressed. I don't know, guys. That highlighter is looking a little unimpressive to me, which is kind of a bummer. One of the things I was most interested in trying out Pixi that I've been wanting to try for a long time is their highlighter. This seems, I mean, the shade seems a little off, but it also seems a little almost chalky. We'll see how it applies to the skin. We're going to give it a chance. But first I want to apply a little bit of the pink shimmery kind of blush topper. I'm just going to take a tiny amount of this one. I don't want to go too overboard, and apply it kind of the top portion of where I applied that blush. Okay, and now let's go in with the highlighter. So I'm going to take my, this is from Royal & Lang, the highlighter brush. Let's go with a little bit of the gold. Weird, I feel like that's not picking up on my brush. I wonder if there's like a spray on top of it or something, like I need to work it off. You guys, I'm kind of bugged by this highlighting formula. Let's just try it, Mandy. Put it on your cheeks. Maybe you'll love it. I don't know, I mean, I see it. I still am kind of feeling like it's a little on the sheer kind of chunky / chalky side. I don't know. I feel like this probably is not their usual formula, because people rave about the Pixi highlighter formula, or at least have in the past. I know that they've been around for years and I've yet to try them, so maybe things have changed. Obviously this is a face palette, so it might be a little different than their individual highlighters. I don't know. I just am not like loving that highlighter, but I am really loving the blush and the bronzer. These two especially I think are really, really pretty. We'll see. I'll have to keep playing with it. I will let you guys know. So far my cheeks look really pretty. I don't know. Applying that highlighter was a little bit frustrating for me, especially knowing that I spent $16 on this palette. So that's it for the face. Let's move into the eyes. Now for my eyes, I have been wanting to try out an eyeshadow palette from LA Girl for a very long time. I've seen them in Target multiple times. I always stop and look at them, and for some reason, again, they're one of those brands that they are more affordable. You get a lot of bang for your buck, but the larger eyeshadow palettes of theirs especially, you still pay like $15 for. And for some reason, when I'm inside a drugstore, it's a lot harder for me to spend more than $10 on a product than when I'm shopping online. Am I the only one that is this way? And I kind of fell victim to the same thing this time. Rather than picking up one of their larger palettes, which I've heard a lot of people rave about, I ended up going with this palette right here. This is the LA Girl, the Nudist palette. It's a smaller palette. It only has 12 shades. I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see the finishes of these, knowing my really odd lighting situation that's going on right now. But just so you know, these two shades right here are shimmery. This one has some like glitter in it, but neither of them are metallic. You can tell that they're more satin finishes. I will insert for you guys right here some swatches. Hopefully you'll be able to see the finishes of these shadows a little bit better swatched on my arm. We're going to give it a try today. Obviously it's a very basic palette, kind of more cool tone or neutrals, which I like. I certainly have plenty of those, although I'm kind of to the point now where I could say that about any eyeshadow palette that I ever try. I could say I probably already have this in my collection. Let's jump into the looks. I want to take the Royal & Lang crease brush. Let's start off in this kind of a peachy pink, like a milky peachy pink shade. If you guys have tried out the LA Girl eyeshadow palette formula, especially if you have tried out multiples of their eyeshadow palettes, so they have this size, the 10-pan ones, they have the larger palettes, and then they have some smaller, I think they're 9-pan palettes. I almost picked up one of those. Those ones did look to have some really nice metallic shades inside them. I'm kind of regretting my decision to go with this one now. I kind of wish I would have gone with one of those, but we'll see. I feel like I'm judging this makeup before I even give it a try, which maybe is not fair. So far that's going on really nice. I really like the shade. It's very warm and peachy. So let me know if you guys have tried multiples of their eyeshadow palettes, if you feel like their formulas are consistent across the board, or if certain palettes or palette sizes or individual palettes have better formulas than others. All right, now I'm going to take this brush right here. This is the shader brush, the kind of large C-shaped sort of brush. We're going to take that same shade just on the tip and run it under the lower lash line. While I'm blending these shadows, I want to give you guys a quick little update on my room refinish, which I talked about a couple of months ago, probably about a month or two ago. It's kind of on hold right now. So as many of you might know, the price of lumber has gone way up. So when we actually priced out the room back in, I think it was like last fall that we priced out what it would cost to finish off this room, the price has actually almost doubled now. So we might be holding off on refinishing this room for the time being. We're gonna see if things kind of come down. I've heard that things are supposed to start going down soon, maybe in the fall. Kind of disappointed. I'm really eager to get out of this plastic covered insulation enclosed area here in my basement, but that's all right. I can hang on. In the meantime, I'm just grateful to have a spot in my house to film videos for you guys, and I'm grateful for my makeup collection. I do still love being down here. I just wish my walls weren't covered in plastic, but we'll get there. Be patient with me. By the way, I forgot to tell you guys what I'm doing. So I'm just taking this brush right here, which is the smudger brush. It's kind of the dome-shaped, very dense pointed brush. I'm just taking this dark brown right here, which is really lovely, by the way, and building that up in the outer corner. So as I was saying, it's been really crazy and chaotic this summer. We've had just a crazy, really unpredictable schedule, so I kind of feel like my channel has become the place of like broken promises. I've promised a 7 looks video, which I am still planning to do, but it's gonna have to be on hold because we've just been going and going this last month. And it all has to do with my older son that plays baseball. And it's a good thing. Like, things are going really well for him. He's going into his senior year this next year. He's got lots of showcases and stuff that he's doing, and they've gone really well for him. So we're super excited for him, and it's been super fun to be a part of that. But as a result, my channel has kind of been a little bit more on the back burner lately. And I'm hoping this fall things will go back to normal. Speaking of fall, I don't think any of my kids are playing sports this fall, which I'm super, super excited about, because we might actually be able to have a normal fall, like a Saturday where we can maybe go camping or do, what do people do on Saturdays? Honestly, it's been like 10 years since we've had a Saturday where someone didn't have a baseball game or a football game. All right, so the mattes look great. They blended really, really nicely. I want to take just a tiny bit of that dark brown right there. I'm taking that on this tiny smudger brush right here, and we're gonna run that very close to my lower lashes, just right there at the outer corner and along the upper lashes as well. Right, now let's take, oh boy, let's have a look at some of these shimmers, if you want to call them that. Let's see. So yeah, these are definitely not very impactful. They're more satin shimmers. If you don't like anything that emphasizes the lines on your eyelids, these are the type of shimmers I most recommend. They're just a little bit more forgiving when it comes to that sort of thing, but they're not very reflective and glitzy and metallic, which is how I like my shimmers to be. So I think we're gonna go in, actually let me swatch this taupe shade right here as well. So these ones feel more like, almost like a matte that has some sparkle in it. It does have a little bit of glossiness to it, but let's go with this one right here. This seems to be the most shimmery of the ones that I have swatched. So that's this shade right there. I'm gonna take that on my finger and we're gonna run that all across the lid. I'm just taking this flat concealer brush. It's actually their lip brush in that set. And I'm adding a little bit of this shimmery shade that's more of a true champagne right there to the inner part of my lid and to that inner tear duct right there. All right, now let's add a little bit of mascara. So I did already curl my eyelashes before I started filming this video. We're gonna take today my Tony Moly mascara, one of my longtime favorites. It's very difficult to find on the internet. It's one of the few mascaras that after I curl my lashes does not make them start to fall back down. Like, it keeps them very upright in the best way. Alright you guys, so here are the finished eyes complete with mascara. Very happy with how this eye look turned out. We'll get into my final thoughts on this palette when I get it to the end of the video when we talk about both of these. But first I want to finish off with the lips, and for that I have a combination that I have been reaching for very consistently for the last couple of weeks, and it is just these two products right here. We're going to start off with this lip liner. This is the NYX lip liner in the shade Beige. This is a good OG lip liner. I think this might have been one of the first lip liners that I ever bought. I'm just gonna line under the center. And on top of that, I'm going to take a little bit of this. This is from Hard Candy. This is their Plumping Serum Lip Balm. This one is in the shade Bountiful Bear. I think both of these were my most recent favorites video. This is just a good kind of peachy pink. I feel like it's going to go really nicely with that cheek color that I put on. I love these. And they do have a subtle plumping effect to them, if you haven't heard me talk about these before. And it's kind of more of a cinnamon sort of plumping effect. It's pretty subtle, not very minty. It's more of like a tingly kind of cinnamon sensation. I really love them though. All right, that I think completes this entire makeup look. Really love how this one came together in the end. As for my thoughts on these two products right here, let's start off with the Pixi. So kind of for both of these, there's some things that I loved and things that I'm maybe kind of on the fence about. For the Pixi product, what I love the very most is the bronzer shade. I was very impressed with this bronzer. I absolutely love it. I'm pretty sure this is one I'll probably hit pan on. It's not very big, so I imagine I'll go through this pretty quickly. I feel pretty much the same way about the blush. As for these two shades right here, I will say the formula of this one I think is a little bit better than this one down here. This feels, I don't know, maybe as I use it, like if there's a film or something on top that starts to come off, maybe I'll like it a little bit better, but it feels a little bit more dry, a little bit more firmly pressed, almost a little more chalky. So there they are. I don't know that you can tell just with them swatched on my finger. This one seems much more foiled and just very creamy, and not like creamy as in like liquidy creamy, but just a very smooth kind of creamy finish. There's the pink. I do really like the pink. It's a pretty blush topper if you like a shimmery blush. And then there is the golden highlight. The shade of this one I imagine is not going to work for me in the winter time. I will keep you guys posted on this, how it goes as I try this out a little bit more. So far, 10 I would say out of 10 on these two right here, and like a 7 out of 10 on this one and a 5 out of 10 for this one, but I will keep you guys updated if my thoughts change. As for the eyeshadow palette, they performed really well. The mattes were really nice and blendable. I think this eye look is super pretty. It's just not very fun to play with this type of a palette. I love my metallics on my eyelids, but that said, the shimmers in here are nice and very smoothing. So if you have a lot of lines that maybe you're a little self-conscious about, or you like something that's gonna not look as reflective or emphasize those lines, maybe you want a palette that's just gonna help you accentuate the natural beauty of your eyes and not highlight the things you don't want to highlight. This is a really good palette for something like that. A good, natural kind of barely there sort of eyeshadow palette. I'll keep playing with it and keep you guys posted as I use the rest of the shades. I just imagine this is one that's kind of gonna float its way to the back of my collection and get forgotten about, and I'm still wanting to try one of LA Girl's other palettes to try out their metallics because I've heard good things. So those are my thoughts on those things. Still a big fan of the Light Illusion foundation. I think my skin looks incredible today. Hope that this video was enjoyable for you guys. Let me know your thoughts on any of these makeup products. Maybe you've tried them out, maybe you've had different experiences with them, but that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I really appreciate you guys watching my videos. It does mean the world. I want to remind you one more time, if you haven't yet subscribed, hope that you'll do that before you leave. But that is all for now. Thanks again, you guys. I will see you all soon in my next video. Bye. I'm like in a bad mood. I don't know why. I'm like really annoyed at this makeup that I just spent money on, which doesn't happen to me very often. Almost anything will kind of excite me when it comes to new makeup, but these just both were not quite what I was expecting.